different policies that Napoleon, the foreign things that Napoleon did home. The word domestic means home, waka. The things that Napoleon was able to perform home that at least added value to his people. So Napoleon Bonaparte, in his domestic policies, he did what we call power centralization. So the keynote of Napoleon's administration was centralization. So he controlled the legislative, executive, and judicial powers. He owned the legislative, he owned the executive, and he owned the judicial powers. So legislative powers and the executive powers and the judicial powers, these powers, Napoleon centralized them. He was the center of power. He was the center of everything. So in 1800, he brought the local government under the direct control of him. So the departments and the small districts are each under a prefect. Napoleon was able to elect prefects. If, for example, when you come to school, each schools, they have prefects. So the role of the prefects is to help the administration in their operations or in implementing or putting up different reforms in the school. So Napoleon Bonaparte, in order to control France after it becoming a huge empire, he made different small districts and the different departments. And in order for him to control the thing softly, he voted for prefects. The role of the prefects was to monitor and also carry out some projects on his behalf. So prefects were also helped by the sub-prefects. So these respectively were made answerable to him, while the mayors of those small communities or communes were appointed by the prefects. Those of the bigger ones were appointed directly by the central government. Napoleon introduced a uniform system of administration throughout the country. So when Napoleon became the leader of France or the emperor, he controlled the system of governance by giving by centralizing the power, the judiciary system, legislative council, the executive council. All these powers were centralized. Napoleon voted for prefects and sub-prefects. Mayors were left to be voted by the prefects, and they were the bigger ones were to be appointed by the central government. So Napoleon, he had to employ all this kind of system all over the French Empire. This helped him to easily administer the empire. So we have finance. Financial administration was in the state of chaos when Napoleon became the first consul. So he removed many of the defects in the financial system, and he increased the state revenue by carefully control what he call taxes, by the economic drivers, by what we call via a punishment of corruption of corrupt officials, and by compelling the vanquished countries for paying the French army, altogether for paying the French army. So it reduced the public expenditure. In 1800, he set up the banks, or the Bank of France, on the basis, or on a sound basis. So the role of the Bank of France was to help people to save money, and at the same time to help people to get loans. So these banks, like the Bank of France, provided the soft loans to the farmers, who later on improved on their agricultural sectors. So Napoleon Bonaparte is given a credit for having catered for the economy structures of his country. Education. In the areas of education domestically, Napoleon Bonaparte, under his control of the state, the Imperial University, which he set up, controlled the public institutions throughout the French Empire, primary or elementary schools, secondary or grammar schools, high schools, and special schools such as technical schools, civil service such as civil services and military schools were set up. Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon liberally endowed what called museums and the libraries as part of the state control of education. He vigorously censored the place and the theater. So Napoleon Bonaparte, in the education sector, he established a number of schools, and these schools were to help the citizens in solving the problem of illiteracy in order to improve on their levels of understanding. So Napoleon Bonaparte is given a credit for having done something to promote his country and for having that eye which can see far. So Napoleon Bonaparte helped in at least imparting some knowledge in people's heads and minds after establishing different schools. Public work. Napoleon undertook a large number of public works. He constructed 229 broad military roads. 30 of these roads radiated from Paris to the borders of France. So he constructed 2 trans-Alpine roads connecting Paris with the Tehran, Milan, Rome, and Naples. He undertook other works of public utility, such as construction of bridges, railways, among others, which helped him to create change in his country, and this also promoted his leadership. In the industry sector, Napoleon did much to promote what we call economic prosperity of the country by the colonial system. Trade with England came to a standstill. He promoted the industries such as technical schools, offered breeze to investors, and gave loans to boost industries, and also to improve on the levels of production in France, which later helped in improving on people's work and businesses at etc. There is what we call Legion of Honor. Napoleon, while in this method, the revolution had abolished all titles that honors to strengthen the titles of honor, to strengthen the bonds of realities to the emperor, and to provide any incentive for what we call hard work. So Napoleon instituted or initiated the Legion of Honor in 1802. Introduced the Legion of Honor in 1802. So it awarded what we call decorations and title to men who were distinguished in civil and military services. Literature and art. In the midst of his preoccupations, Napoleon did not neglect the fine art. He was a patron of art, literature, science, sculpture, architecture, painting, and music. made against progress during the Napoleonic period. So state policies were restored and engaged. Are we together? Sorry. State policies were restored and enlarged. He beautified the city of Paris with work of art taken as spoils from different countries. Napoleon beautified France. He made sure that France is looking nice just with the use of art. Religious policy. Napoleon realized the hold of the Catholic Church on France, on the French people. He looked upon religion as a force to politics and nothing else. Napoleon Bonaparte believed that the people, Napoleon Bonaparte, we say that, he realized the hold of the Catholic Church on the French people. He looked upon religion as a force in politics and nothing else. Napoleon believed that the people must have a religion, but the religion must be in the hand of the state. He used to say, people will say that I am a Baptist, I am nothing, and I was a Mohammedan in Egypt. I shall be a Catholic here for the good of the people. That is what Napoleon said. The Concordat and the Code Napoleon, the two greatest works which had kept the memory of Napoleon still green in the minds of the people, are the Concordat and the Code Napoleon. He knew that any establishment, Napoleon, he knew that an established Catholic, an established church would be a tower of strength to the state. So he entered into an agreement with Pope Pius, and this agreement was known as the Concordat Treaty, which they signed. However, the Roman Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic religion was recognized as the religion of France by the Concordat. So the Pope agreed not to emphasize not to advance his claims to the restoration of church property, and the state undertook the payments of this. So Napoleon promised to bring back what the church had lost, and so they had to reach upon the agreement. However, the agreement was violated, was abused after the two having disagreements. We have the downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte came to his downfall. So those are the some of the factors, those are the some of the ways that Napoleon consolidated the position, how Napoleon was able to rule those states for quite some good period of time. I beg submit from here. Have a good day.